ist von Jossa, Jamie Hughes.
We will rock you. Sing it. We will rock you. Everybody, we will rock you. We will rock you. All right.
Jamie Hughes fordert die aktuelle Nummer 16 der Welt heraus. Er war der erste Weltmeister nach Phil Taylor, der seinen Titel verteidigen konnte. Der Weltmeister von 2011 und 2012 aus Stoke-on-Trent, Jackpot Adrian Lewis.
Five seeded players have already been knocked out of the European Darts Grand Prix. We've got 4 matches to come. And if that continues, we're going to see some big names fall. The German #1 Max Hopp on the way. The world #1 Michael van Gerwen. Former champion here, Peter Snakebite Wright. And right now, Adrian Lewis. Jackpot, a 2-time world champion. And what a game this is. Second round, a 2-time world champ against Jamie Hughes. Now, Jossa, look, he wasn't brilliant yesterday against Pikachu, Ricardo Petrechko, but he won it 6-1. And we know that Jossa is very likely to go and put in a massive display, just like he did the last time he took on AD Lewis and beat him in a floor event this year with an average of more than 106. Jackpot knows how much quality this man possesses, and we could have fireworks here at the Glass Palast if these two both get going. Paul Nicholson in the comms box for this one. It's Jackpot and Jossa for a spot in the final day where Mark McGuinney awaits.
Of course, Jossa knows a lot about McGuinney from their BDO times.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, first leg, Adrian to throw first. Game on!
Would we classify this one, Dan, as a West Midlands derby?
I think you'd give it a go. Certainly West Bromwich Albion and Stoke City were having bants on the old social media machine earlier on. This is pretty much the same parts of the country. Tipton in the Black Country, and obviously AD is born and bred
58.
Stokey.
I was talking to Jamie Hughes at length last night after the tournament shenanigans were over, and he was telling me all about the hot bit of darts that Tipton is. And he wished me a happy birthday, which was very nice. And
just to a few of his pals?
Just to a few of his pals. And yeah, he said it's amazing for such a small place how many great dart players come from there. And I said nothing's an accident.
85.
Look at Stoke. Look at St Helens. They are hotbeds of darts because people are motivated by brilliance, and they're motivated by the likes of Jossa and Scott Baker.
1 round of 40.
Yeah, well, that's the weird thing. We've had Glenn Durrant, Scott Baker, Mark McGuinney, all come over from the BDO this year, and they've all made at least the semi-finals of an event. Jossa, who started on the full tour this year, having missed out at Q School last year, arguably playing, well, more consistently, certainly in terms of the statistics, than any of them. Maybe Durrant has got a claim to be playing better stuff, but he's not got to a quarter-final yet. That will change. I'm just not sure when.
96.
Scary prospect, really, isn't it?
You
We haven't seen the best of Jossa yet.
Certainly not seen the best in terms of the results. but the performances have been spectacular. But Adrian Lewis has been pretty fine as well this year.
Game
And
shot on
108
the
check
first
out on
leg.
double 16 gets the first
Second
leg on the
Jamie to
board.
throw first. Game on.
Popular man is Adrian Lewis in Germany, and should be very popular here because this is the venue of
46.
his one and only victory on the European Tour. It was back in 2012 where he beat Diamond Ian White in the final.
Yeah, back when they were just Stokes number 2 and number 4.
140.
Really 7 years ago? Almost 7 years ago, so I think it was at the back end of 2012. Where does time go?
135.
This could be a really heavy scoring contest if they put on the scoring boots and get the confidence bag out and drink from the glass of brilliant darts juice.
60.
Well, that's undoubtedly what they'll be aiming to do, Paul.
Well, one thing that Yozza won't be troubling is the barber.
134.
He's gone for the Michael van Gerwen, which in this darting climate is not a bad thing. I actually think in hot stages having no hair is an advantage, because
60.
if you feel a bit hot, just wipe the old brow, wipe the bonnet, start again, and you don't have to worry about looking like you just got out of bed.
Well, that is true. I like when you see particularly long format games and say, I mean, Austria was boiling last weekend, but the match play somewhere like that, it's just the sheer amount of sweat coming off some of the guys. It's gotta be
Jamie, you
difficult just
require
to get, like,
86.
nobody's gone full sort of Pat Cash and gone for the old sweatband. Can you? That's within the rules, isn't it?
Yes, I think so, but there is something to say that you can't use
46.
headwear without it being for religious reasons.
Oh, okay.
But is a headband classed as headwear?
I don't know. Could you have? Well, can you have a headband with a crucifix on then? Does that get you out of it?
93. Jamie, you require
We'll ask Graham
40.
Fairhouse, the tournament director, about that one.
I've
But
seen players wear them on the wrists.
I can see Jamie Hughes with a headband.
Game
I think
shot
it'd be a
on the
look.
second leg. Jamie Hughes.
Well, we'll have to
third leg,
broach the
Adrian to
subject
throw
with Yozza.
first.
But
Game on.
the only subject he is broaching right now is how to beat Adrian Lewis, and he's started his campaign with getting that second leg.
58.
There were players, of course, who used to take the old towel on stage and wipe the bonnet and the brow quite a lot. Someone like Andy Smith, for instance. You know what the Pie Man's doing at the minute. I haven't seen him for
177.
ages. He's, of course, from the West Midlands.
Yeah, another West Midlands dart player, Studley, down in Warwickshire. He also was saying, I mean,
96.
there have been a lot of darts players from the West Midlands sort of area, and if you include Stoke in that, then obviously huge. You can include the Potteries. Don't really get many from Birmingham. Not many at all.
One
Look at this now, Yozza. 177, 180, leaves 144. Time and again this weekend, we've seen people go 6 darts into the 9. Can
Jamie
Yozza produce his first perfect leg in the
144.
PDC?
Considerably richer. I was going to say than Yao.
32.
He was only 1 dart away from the 9.
A shake of the hand from Adrian Lewis. Superb effort from Jamie Hughes. It was nearly a 4th 9-darter on the European Tour this year. Remember when we went 5 years without one?
93.
They were the
Jamie,
days.
you require 12.
We've got so much hope these days. Well, that's not a marker. That
Game
one's in,
shot
though.
on the third leg.
Basically 2 inches
Jamie
apart,
Hughes.
those darts.
Full leg Jamie to throw first. Game on.
Well, what a leg of darts from Jamie Hughes. The Tipton man goes into the lead with a breaker throw, and it was very nearly a perfect leg.
Yeah, West Midlands dart players you were talking about. There are so many to mention. Obviously got to talk about Wayne Jones, the greatest player to have never won a Pro Tour title in
57.
the PDC. In my opinion, of course.
Well, it certainly made the most finals without getting over the line in one.
I think Yozza was talking about
45.
Ian Long last night. In real talent terms, he thinks that Ian is very underrated.
Well, he's certainly flying the flag,
140.
is Yozza, for that part of the world, and the way he's playing, I just think he's one of the most exciting players in the world right now. These first few months of 2019, every single time that Jamie Hughes is in front of your screens, you are getting a barnstorming game. He's not always winning them, but if people are beating him, often they're having to average 100, 105, 106, just monstrous stuff.
Yeah, it gives you value for money. He's like the line of duty of darts.
25.
The one thing that made me smile just before, and I like to study the facial expressions of dart players when they're throwing.
92.
Very relaxed face from Adrian Lewis, but
Jamie, you require 91.
Jamie Hughes gives it the full grumpy cat. The inverted smile of concentration.
That's a great recovery.
Game shot, the full
Superb
flag.
from
Jamie
Hughes. That's a 15
Fifth leg,
darter
Andy,
to
the
back
throw
up the 11
first. Game
darter.
on.
3 legs on the spin for Yozza. And Jackpot, well, he lost to him in the Pro Tour 6-1. And Yozza averaged 106. Right now, he is not far off it.
I think it's fair to say at the moment, after been watching a lot of Euro Tour darts in the last 3-4 weeks, people are turning up against Adrian Lewis. They know
99.
he's a huge threat right now after winning again recently, and they're putting in some displays against Adrian. They're making it very difficult for him to progress.
I mean, he's always, look, Adie's one of the stars of the game and has been for more than a decade now. He's always going to have a target on his back. People, he could be playing dreadfully and people would still want to beat him because he's Adrian Lewis. But Jamie Hughes is just dishing out this treatment to anybody who crosses his path.
98.
Right now he's averaging north of 108.
Look at that. And the first 9 averages, it doesn't surprise you. That's the thing. This is better than most of his performances this year, but it doesn't surprise you that he's doing it. Adrian Lewis, can he give us a surprise here? Oh, it would have been a shock to Hughes, that.
Wasn't far away. 2 millimeters away
23. Jamie require
from just
82.
getting it in the top right-hand corner of that 57. But Jamie Hughes looking at the bull, hugs the wire, looks at tops.
Game shot, the fifth
Wow!
leg.
And he's
Jamie
doubling
Hughes.
today.
Sixth leg,
So
Jamie,
much
the
better
front
than
first.
yesterday against
Game on.
Petreshko.
Yeah, he did struggle on the outer ring yesterday against Petreshko. He has put that right here, and he continues to score incredibly. The last 3 legs, Adrian Lewis needed 12 darters to win each of them.
77.
And it might be a similar story here. Adrian Lewis, to have won the last 3 legs, needed to be averaging more than 125. That is the position that Yozza has put him in. There are not many people who have beaten Adrian Lewis 6-1 over the last year and a bit. There are even fewer
83.
who have threatened to beat him 6-1 back-to-back.
Well, there can't be many times where Adrian's been feeling this way, and he hasn't played poorly.
100.
But Jamie Hughes is making Adrian look fairly pedestrian, and he's hitting him so hard. Not just with the scoring, but just the timing of the stuff as well.
58.
Well, there you see it. 11 to break, 15 to hold, 12 to break. It is. That's exactly what you want.
96.
Force them to hit 12 darters.
I'm still not convinced that Adrian Lewis's darts are perfect. I still think they're going in too upright. They are shielding too much of the segment that are above the dart, and I think there are issues with that. It's just my own personal opinion, but they're going in so upright.
Well, Adrian Lewis could be using
One
wands
round
handed
five.
down to him by Zeus himself.
83.
And he would be struggling to live with Yoza right now. 16 for Bull. Double 9 then.
65.
Finally, a chink in the
I
Yoza
require
armour, but it is
100.
only a small chink. Can Adrian Lewis pierce it?
Straight up the middle, and he can't really go tops anymore because that dart is so upright. He's got no angle. So you go to the 60 instead. And you get the
Shot on the
10s.
sixth leg.
Amazing conversion from Jackpot.
Seventh leg, 80 to
This
throw
man
first.
is
Game
class.
on.
This contest is class.
Gotta love darts when it's played this way. This is 21st century brilliance. I would pay to watch
60.
this over and over again.
I know that at the start of the day it was Max Hopp and Nathan Aspinall that you'd highlighted as the one you couldn't wait to see. This was the one I was fascinated by.
This is your Olivia
47.
Newton-John game.
Well, yeah, it's the one that I want.
Wasn't as good as the one last night where someone was in 111, and that was the 1-1-1 that they wanted.
Did they get it?
They didn't.
No. Well, it's a shame you learnt all that dance routine.
140.
Well, Lewis is pepping himself up by slapping that right thigh of his. He is trying to get a little bit gritty here, knowing that he is having to survive an onslaught.
43.
And maybe Yoza's just coming back a little bit. He's gone off the boil.
Well, look, we saw Mervyn King earlier on today just go berserk for a bit, and then it was almost like he
41.
punched himself out a little bit. We know that Yoza can sustain this. He's done it before, but AD has to jump on it if he does have a little off spell, because it can come back at any point.
137.
I just look at Yoza, and does he ever throw a bad dart? I know not every single one of them lands in the designated area that he's going for, but everything
140.
just looks so... There's nothing... If he misses, it's not because something's gone horribly wrong. It just looks all so certain.
Technically, there's nothing wrong.
133. 80 require 120.
Right, I liken it to Bob Anderson, and we'll maybe come back to that point. But Adrian Lewis, that upright dart again, it's a shield. Now he's got to go all the way to the left. Slide to the right, slide to the left, and
Game
just hit the
shot on
120.
seventh leg.
Oh,
80.
phenomenal.
Jamie to throw first.
Back-to-back checkouts of 100 and 120 when Adrian Lewis was forced to move about the place to places he didn't want to be, and he still hit the targets.
He didn't have to do that earlier in his career because his darts weren't going in this steep. But he knows best. He's the champ.
Oh, yes, AD. Yes, look at this. This is what we wanted. A fired up and firing Adrian Lewis coming back against an informed Jamie Hughes. Proper darts on the Euro Tour.
100.
Well, at 4-1, you thought Yoza was going to stride away. Back comes Jackpot. Crowd think it's in, but it isn't.
140.
They thought it was a 180. Sorry, folks. It's good enough right now, though. Unless Yoza can get 2 trebles. Yeah, we're talking about Jamie Hughes'
90.
action. And it's very similar to Bob Anderson. No backlift, all forward motion, really aggressive, holds the dart at the very end, resulting in a very upright dart. As much as Adrian Lewis though, but I love the way he throws. All he's got to do is mimic Bob Anderson with that point when he hits a 180, and that would just love that. Great dart.
95.
Great dart from
80
Jamie
require
Hughes.
140.
Big pressure on this.
He's taken out a ton. He's taken out 120. If he takes out 140, oh, he might just become favourite for this. Oh, very nearly a moment of genius.
Jamie requires 76.
Still got to convert it, Jamie. You've just had a scare. And you are going to get 2 darts. Only needs 1. Oh, littered with brilliance this game.
Ninth leg, 80 to throw first. Game on.
Jackpot must hold, break, and then hold again. He is averaging just shy of the 100, round about 98. Jamie Hughes is still averaging way over a ton.
1 run of 40.
This is magnificent.
Well, if only Stoke City were this good.
Well, look, if only Jamie Hughes could start going deep in some tournaments, get himself into the big TV ones. Can you imagine these two going at it over a longer format?
Yes, please.
Oh,
100.
spectacular.
Which football team does Jose support?
Not sure.
Is he a Wolves fan?
I'm not sure if he might be Wolves, he might be Baggy, he might not be into football.
Actually, I think I asked him that question last night. I think he's a Wolves fan. Well, the Wolves fan has just hit the red bit 3 times. We're playing Liverpool tomorrow, but that's the second most important sport tomorrow because we've got to crown the champion here.
And it might be one of these two. At the minute, it looks more likely to be Jamie Hughes going through to the 3rd round. Because look at this. Just cannot stop finding the 60.
100.
Leaves 1-2-1 for the match. For a 2nd win over Jackpot. This is big. I mean, if you can come away from a game losing it 6-3. Oh, is that touching?
Ooh, the samurai dart.
50.
Yeah, well,
He's given him it.
Jamie require 121.
and it makes a difference because he's on a finish.
Yeah. Big time treble 4. Now, if Jackpot takes this out, that'll have been the biggest treble 4 in history, but he's had to survive a match start first.
156.
A little bit of luck has given AD Lewis a chance. He took out the ton, he took out 120, he nearly took out 140, but he won't take out 156, and Jamie Hughes gets more match darts. We've
93.
seen match darts missed by players who've gone
Jamie
out of the
requires
tournament. It happened tonight with Chris
25.
Dobie. Jamie Hughes, who just doesn't throw bad darts. Does not miss the double 4. What a spectacular contest between 2 top-class exponents of this sport. 104 average for Jose, the 2-time world champion. Couldn't overcome him in the end. And it is Jose versus Migini for a spot in the quarter-finals of the European Darts Grand Prix. Can the man from Tipton finally take the next step and make the last 8 of a ranking tournament?
Ist es auch Jackpot Adrian Lewis. Ist raus hier beim European Darts Grand Prix 2019. Applaus für Jackpot. 80. Schön, dass hier in Sindelfingen am Start war. Jamie hat noch ein paar Geschenke für euch.
So, on now out to it, it would just, it'd have been the icing on the cake, that would, but it just water be. It'll come though, it'll come.
Okay, that's cool. Good to know. Thank you very much, Jamie Hughes. See you tomorrow. Jamie Hughes.